You ever seen those things? I know you've seen it. Anyone who's done anything with audio or car audio has seen those like super tweeter, titanium bullet tweeters. And they're like made by Pyramid and they're $25 a pair. And people Photoshop them into their party speakers. And it's like, wow, look at this guy's family. Totally blasting just super tweeters on his big screen TV. Anyway, that's a fucking leak from like the 70s or 80s. And this is not. Anyway, the point of it is like, oh, your speakers aren't good enough. You got to slap this piece of shit tweeter on top of it. And then you'll really be able to hear the sound. And it, like, I think in the 70s and 80s, maybe that was a thing because most speakers sucked. And, you know, adding anything to them made it better. So Aperion contacts me and says me a few things. And they offered me a pair of these. This is their AMT dual super tweeters. And I was like, all right, I know the concept. I know the concept. In fact, I had a pair of their super tweeters in my shopping cart on Amazon for years. It was like $350 for this pair of like amazing super tweeters. And I'm like, I kind of want to try it, but I kind of feel like it's a joke. But when they contact you and they're like, hey, we'll send you something. I'm like, give me your $1,000 fucking set. You bitch. Urgh. So I get them and I have very little expectations or hopes. I'm like, oh, it's going to be expensive and fancy and we'll get to play with it a little bit. No, whatever. But then that wallpaper happens because I'm doing this video because I woke up this morning and they weren't in my bedroom and I was sad. Like literally sad. I was like, oh my God. Am I depressed? No. The super tweeters are missing off my ohms. And we're going to go. We're going to travel in this video. This is going to be a 3-position video. You're going to get 2 wallpapers, including that one, which is a witch. It's very revealing, which is what these fucking are. Okay. So the concept is you have a speaker, just like you would in the 70s and 80s when this whole concept was... This is as old school a fucking concept as possible in audiophilia. I feel like this might even predate most of like the snake oil shit when people were actually trying to make things better with physical hardware. And those Pyramid, you know, ones that are still available for $25, honestly, I'm not even that turned off by them anymore. Because if this works, maybe in a fucking faraway land, that might actually improve something too. And they make obviously bigger ones, which are designed to be mounted in things, which is like, that's a 4-inch, 600-watt, high compression titanium bullet tweeter, $32 a piece. Keep in mind, this is $1,000 for a pair of these. And then here are the ones that I have in my cart. The Aperion Audio Mark II planar ribbon super tweeter pair for home theater hi-fi, $350 a piece. Now, those are a planar ribbon super tweeter, and this is an aluminum air motion. Here they are on Amazon. Aperion dual air motion transformer ribbon super tweeter pair speaker. Go. And if you go to like, I don't know why it has to see all buying options. There's no color there, but they're $1,000 there, and they're also $1,000 on their site. And if you go to the site and you read all the things, and it's like, okay, I get it. They're good for speakers from. I'm lost. So what you do is you take your speaker that you think is lackluster, and of course, all the speakers I have are just crap. All these speakers, and then you just slap this motherfucker onto the top of it. You can buy the cable. The Aperion sells this cable. It's like $75 for a set of these, but I asked them for that because I didn't want to build it because it's a spade connector to banana. Because the concept is you plug the banana, which I have these already plugged into that amp, so I can let you listen to what this does. That's a terrible sounding speaker for $1,000 a pair. Wait. Just fucking wait. There'll be a sound demo attached to this fucking review. Do you understand? So the point is you get these cables, and these are the 4-footers. And it's as long as they have currently. I did talk to them. I want a set of 5-footers, and they're making a set of 5-footers now and making available. Because when you try to put this on top of a tower, that could be a stretch. And you put this behind the binding posts on your normal speaker. You know, you have your normal speaker, you have your 5-way binding posts. You would unscrew your binding posts. You'd have your normal amplifier that's powering your normal speaker. Pretend this is a normal speaker there. And then you would just shove these behind like this and then screw it down so that now you have both your amplifier and... Get in there, you bitch. So this is what your regular speaker should look like. It'll look like this. Amplifier powering your speaker. These sort of like vampires sucking off. And then this goes up to the super tweeter on top or to the side. And we'll talk about positioning because that's going to be a thing. I hope this video is not 45 minutes long. Fuck it if it is. Long videos mean this is important. And this is an important video because it's going to destroy shit. People are going to spend $1,000. You don't think you're going to spend $1,000 to get... to $1,000. Okay, so point is, you stick this on your speaker. You plug your speaker into your normal amplifier. If you have 5-way binding posts, you unscrew them. You buy this cable because also you can build a cable. You can build a cable, or you can use raw wire and just try to get raw wire in there and then bananas. Or you could take the raw wire and twist two. It's by the cable. It's easier, but I mean, it's also a very nice cable. I will say this: it kind of looks like the type of stuff that you lock up a bicycle with, but it's like a silver covered. It's a nice cable. All right. I'm not into like, oh, it's a special cable, so it sounds good. It's just a nice cable. It's nicely built. And for $75 for a pair, I don't think I could build them. My time is worth more than that fucking amount of money to fucking, I hate it. So you slap this on your speaker, you plug in your speaker to your amp, you plug this into the amp to the speaker so it's just one big cohesive unit. And then this produces sound. Like your speaker is going to do its full range thing. It's doing whatever it can do. Your speaker is going to do whatever it's going to do. This then just does what you set it to do. And there's a range of like 87 to 98 decibel sensitivity. So you're going to know your sensitivity of your speakers, which is how loud they get per watt on an amp. And then you just tune this. And I've had to actually modify this slightly with a fucking paint marker because there's two knobs here. This one goes off 8 kilohertz, 10, 12, 14, and 16 kilohertz. By the way, knob feel perfect. It is a legitimate knob. There is an indicator here of like a notch, but Aperion, and I love you guys because these things are amazing. I can't see that notch when there's a speaker in the way. By the way, this is all heavy aluminum. This thing, I could beat you to death with this. I want to point that out. None of this is plastic. This is a brick. Like if I ever needed a paperweight, that's a $500 paperweight because they're $1,000 a pair. Anyway, so there's a notch that shows you what you're selecting, but you can't see it through the fucking thing. So I just delicately took I'll link in the description, Zeos, the Sharpie paint markers, the silver one, and I just touched it right above the indicator so I could see what the fuck's going on from above, which is where you need to see. Which, honestly, the label should be the other way around because usually you're going to be in front of this thing adjusting it, and this makes everything backwards. Or they could have just put this way and then put the notch because it doesn't matter. You could rotate that and it'll still be the same. But your choices are off through 8 through 16 kilohertz, and that's the high pass filter. Where I had it currently for playing, and that was Yoko Kanno's Adieu from the Cowboy Bebop. So now that's as low as it can go, 8,000 hertz. 10, 12, 14, 16. And I don't think it's actually cutting off at 16, but you can definitely tell it's squashing. It's less full as you turn that up. And there's off. This other side is 0 decibels, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can tune this to sort of just fill in the gap of your speaker. This is like, I talk about mini DSP and like DSP corrections all the fucking time, right? And you could adjust and fix leveling, and you could do Dirac. I have Dirac now, and it'll just adjust things. But none of that will add a giant AMT to your speaker. I think this is capable of 33,000 hertz, which is more like dogs hear that shit, but whatever. This thing does miracle shit. Shit that only witches can do. Because it's like, I didn't expect it to do that. I expected it to sit up there and go shit, and then it would just be like weird, and I wouldn't accept it, and I would move on, and I'd be like, here's a review of it. But if they're like, pay us $1,000 for these, you get no discount, because usually I'm going to hand them the money and then put these in my bedroom again. And we'll get to it when I get to the ohms, because the ohms were the first choice for putting these on, because the ohms are like a little, and then they're the only, like, oh my God, so stop. So you put this on a speaker, and then you have to dick with it. And there's no one that's going to be able to tell you, unless they have specifically your speaker, and specifically your amp, in specifically your room, and placed it in specifically the exact same spot, what settings to use. So that was like the first thing. When I dropped them on the speakers, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna leave it at 0, which is the loudest it'll go, and I'll give it 8 kilohertz and see what it's doing. You're not supposed to run it like this, by the way. This does not like running this on its own because there's not enough load. It claims it's like 4 ohms, but I think what you're supposed to have is, you know, a speaker and this, and that's the load that you present to an amp. So this Class D amp, the Sabage A10A, by the way, amazing, is like, ooh, what the fuck am I doing? So if I turn it up any higher than that, get a little crackly. But another benefit of this versus all the other super tweeters we looked at is, since it's an AMT, it doesn't just fire out of the front. It throws the exact same sound out of the back. And I think that's another reason why when I put this on my ohms upstairs at the end of this video, I come all over the place, because it has that omnidirectional feel to it, where, especially if you put it on top of a speaker. If you try to put it in front of a speaker, like if this is your speaker and you just put it here, you're gonna get the reflection forward, you're gonna get the blast forward, and then it's gonna bounce backwards 4 inches, and then you're gonna get the reflection, and that's gonna sort of weird things out. But when you put some space between this and the wall, you get that reflection and that bigness. It's a thing. It's a thing. There are some very, very, very expensive speakers that I see at audio shows, and you go like, wow, that sounds super weird and amazing. What is it doing? And then you walk behind it, and literally the front of the speaker is also on the back of the speaker, all the way to the tweeter, and it's just shooting into the void, hoping it bounces back off of something and giving you this wash of sound. So that's probably why this is going to be a superior option to this, which is their box one, which is just, here it is. It's the same setup. You get the same knobs, the same settings, and you get the plugs, but it's only front firing. By the way, for $350, I'd recommend, if what I'm describing sounds like it might be interesting to you, it's worth trying at least their cheaper set, which, by the way, come in white. So, I mean, you could just totally just, wife wouldn't care. Wife, girlfriend, husband, secret pool boy that comes, he's gonna be like, ah, it's fine, it's white. White boxes on top of the speakers are fine. And it makes things look weird. I want to point it out. There's a couple demonstration pictures which, like here's, can I not click that? What did it just do? Oh, is it people in the gallery? The gallery! Ooh, look at that. Are we on Pinterest? Aperion is linked to Pinterest. Are you kidding me? I don't want to log into Pinterest. No one wants to log in. Go away. Okay, never mind. Don't click the gallery. Escape, escape. Pinterest is, oh God, I feel like I need to take a shower. Anyway, it kind of looks funny when you stick this on something, especially when you put it on like the ohms. But I have to get off this desk because this is not where this belongs. You could hear me talking about it all the time. You want to see it in action, and I want to show you what I'm doing with it. So the wallpaper in the description, but let's move on to another wallpaper. Okay, -2, another witch. 10,000 and -2 is what I figured out yesterday. So you can see I have them in the binding posts on the below with the spades, and I'm going to plug in the amplifier, which these, by the way, are my JBL Studio 590s. And the reason you need a 5-foot cable is because that don't work. So I've done the second best thing, which is put a speaker stand next to it. And I tried leaning them against it. I tried putting them slightly in front of it. And it's just like, here's the thing. placement on these is your job. Every speaker's different. I'm going to do a little quick oof with this, and then I'm going to go oof with those. Haven't done it yet, but I mean, those are Yamos S803s. So everyone has these, and these are like $150 speaker, $170 speaker, and they're amazing. But those are amazing. And here's the thing about the 590s. I love my 590s, but I've got a cotton ball shoved into the tweeter because I used to use them near field. And the highs can get a little bit much, and that fixes the highs getting a bit much. But that means it's lacking in highs. And I was like, all right, I listened to them for a good solid 20 minutes without these. And then I hooked them up like that, like this, getting the depth. Here's the thing, you have to do time alignment. If you don't know what time alignment is, this tweeter and this woofer are in the same box and they're at the same plane. So they're good. If this tweeter was here, it would be wrong. It would twist the sound in a weird direction, and it would hit you at different times that wouldn't be coherent. So these JBLs have recessed 8-inch, and that compression driver is way the hell back here, but they've time aligned it at the factory when they designed it so that when this comes out, even though it's a little bit further back, the wavelengths of this hit, and that was hit, and it's perfect. So me adding something to this system is entirely up to me to figure out where the time alignment needs to be. Because if I put it way up front, this is probably going to hit before any of that. So I have to keep moving it back until I get it sounding right. Because there's no delay on this. That's just distance is delay. What I have to deal with the knobs on top, which again, you can tell because I put dots on them and they should be the other way around. They should still have dots on top, is -2 decibels with the efficiency of these. And 10,000 hertz is probably around the butter zone. So when I hit play, if you do this right, if you position them right, by the way, it's Carlos Santana. Which song is that? Bella from Carlos Santana. Because Santana, if you want to know about your horns doing the tweety things, so someone told me these are called whizzers. Someone in the senior variety was like, hey, you mean whizzers? And I'm like, what? And they're like, well, it's bass, it's woofer, mid-range, tweeter, whizzer. And those are whizzers. I said it. Now it's fucking law. So I know this for a fact. Those speakers, without the cotton balls and the horns, don't sound this good. And it's not the cotton balls that are making them sound this good. And the fact that those are like way inside, you know, that's like, oh, but Zio's now the speakers in multiple parts. Shh. You just keep testing until it works. This is a tweaker's fucking dream. And I tweak all day. I don't actually tweak, but this is the type of shit that I'm like, if you've watched my home theater video or the DDR8C88D you know that I like to tweak. And this is more fun than that because this is physically tweeting. Whizzing? I'm whizzing all over these speakers. I'm whizzing these. So there's a separate speaker. There's a separate entity right there that I've added. And its job is to take 10,000 hertz and above, which is not like the largest range in the world. It's like, yeah, there's stuff up there, but it's like, usually you hear the meat of the sound is like probably 4,000 and under is like the meat. So this is literally the garnish. And that's going to be hard for people to swallow for $1,000. Because as much as I'm going to recommend you at least try, either get the $25 super tweeters linked in the description from fucking Pyramid. Pyramid was Radio Shack's brand, wasn't it? Like the cheap. Who cares? You give it a shot. Just buy them for $25, slap them on top of a speaker. I'm going to buy them and end up fucking giving them a test. Because now that I know that this is amazing, I want to know exactly how crap that is. Then there's the cheaper versions by Aperion for $350, which is like, that's a decent amount of money. But if you're adding them onto speakers that cost, 2-3 times that, maybe it's worth it. And for me to have the $1,000 pair of these fucking things and then throw them on these were $2,200 when they were full price, and I think I got them for $9. So actually, if I bought these 590s for $900 a pair, those cost more. And you know what? I'd want to add them on because there's just sometimes the sprinkles on top of ice cream is the best part. Because it's just a big lump of ice cream. You got some whipped cream on there. Maybe it's not even the cherry on top. The cherry is a singular item, and it's like, oh, you could eat that right. This is all over the sound. It does a thing. It's all I can say. It does a thing. It makes it so that, like, I know for a fact these 590s are not this clear with that horn. Now, if I unplug that horn, I disconnect these, it'll sound good. No one who owns 590s or knows what their speakers sound like. I chose not to take out the Klipsch R7s for this because I feel like that tweeter is good enough, and I would have to do the same thing. Like, here's the thing. You have to decide. I have a lot of here's the things. You have to decide if you think your speakers are lacking. Because I did not intend to go and stick these on the 590s. I knew exactly which speakers I was going to try these on. The ohms. And we'll get to the ohms when I go up to my bedroom. You're going to come to my bedroom, goddamn bastards. You're going to invade my personal space for this. And I can't even put a wallpaper on. Actually, I have that little cheap projector I unboxed. I might be able to get a wallpaper on. We'll see if I'm lazy. And, well, yeah, I'm going to do the sound demo, so I need a laptop. All right, hold on. There'll probably be a third wallpaper in this fucking video. But, I did not think for a second that I would, hook these up to these speakers and be like, all right, no, they're improved. And you know what? They're improved. They just are. There's a delicacy to this. Because you heard them on the desk. They're not exactly putting out like this infinite amount of like, oh my God. You have to tune it. You're going to put it on, you're going to, all right, 0, no quelling, and then, 8 kilohertz to do everything. And you're going to listen, you're going to go, I don't like it. Then I recommend you go to the exact opposite. You just lower it all the way and you put it to 16,000. You're going to go, well, now I'm not noticing anything. And your job is to just bounce those switches in every orientation and change where these things are located until you have your moment. And I've had my moment several times. And like I said, I'm a tweaker, and mini DSP is great. But this is physically here. I can pick this up and hold it. And I know for a fact what it's doing because it's shooting sound this way. It's shooting sound back into the speaker stand, the Doom stacks behind it. I would move the Doom stacks, but I don't feel like it. I can move the speakers out. I can move speakers on the inside. I can put those tweeters on the outside. If I built my own cables or wait till I get the longer ones, I could put them on the top, which might make them too tall. They will, by the way, if you go to Aperion's site, they will sell you odd numbers. If you want to put this in your home theater, and oh my fucking God, I'm not considering that, am I? No. I think the heresies would probably not benefit from this. But my new home theater, when it gets moved to that section instead of where it is, center channel is going to be a thing, and you could just buy one, plop it on top of a center channel, just right there on the fucking center channel, and then just like, oh my God. Because that's the biggest AMT that I've ever experienced, ever. Like, the next biggest one is what came in my Airmotive 6s. And it's a pretty big fucking AMT. All new Emotiva speakers have the small one. So that one's a big one, and that's even bigger. In fact, the dimensions are online. I didn't check. But we're going to change out now. Because these speakers are exceptional, and then those are fucking, T-Bone Burnett, Live, or If I Die from Cuff the Duke. I don't know. This is from the True Detective thing. You look it up. All right, let me switch it out to the other speakers, which I haven't tested yet. So maybe we'll go through that together. Okay, off, and 0. So got them on the stands. I don't want to play too much because these always get demonetized. And it's like, the sound demos are going to be demonetized. These are not. So it's hard for me to play things during reviews. And I know that upsets some people, but that is the life we live. So these are the Yamaha S803s. And you may have noticed in the previous section that they were missing from the bottom middle of my review space because they are quite an important speaker, actually. These are like the only thing that rival against the RB42s. Links to these and the mic RB42s in the description, by the way. So these are relatively cheap for a 5. I don't know if it's a 5 1/4. It might be just a 5. But that tweeter is so, it's like everything's so smooth and nice, and I can just listen to it. More Handsome Family. What is going on? This is Wildebeest. Yeah, that's nice and clear and depthy, and I know these speakers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn them on, or turn these on. I guess usually you start at like the lowest, but I'm going to just go off on a limb and say that these are going to need no more than 12,000 and up, because I like the way that sounds. So we'll go 12,000 and up. I'm going to do 0, which is the adjustment for how much of this you get. 0 is the most, and you could drop it 5 decibels, which doesn't sound like enough of a swing, but it is. So now, back that up. All right, that's a little too, I'm getting too much, and I'm just going to drop this 2 decibels. Let's put it to 10. Let's give it more range, down, and lower. And if I didn't... Fuck, wait till we get to the ohms. I'm going to have a fucking conniption. Hopefully this is not long enough for this song to get like pulled multiple times for copyright. A little bit, still a little bit much, because these are a little bit more... So let's go down 3 decibels. And this is what you're going to have to do when you buy these. You're going to have to just do that. I think my alignment's probably good. This is as far forward as I can put it on the speaker. It sits a little bit farther back, but that's kind of where the tweeter's originating, so... No, 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 yes. There it is. These speakers are higher end now. They're just higher end. They just sound better than they did alone. And it doesn't sound like I'm fucking with them. I was worried it was going to sound like, oh, this is a gimmick. You're going to throw it on there and it's going to, ooh. But you close your eyes, you put this behind a curtain, which that reminds me, I want to build one of those. I want to build literally a curtain for this area that's completely acoustically transparent. It'll block out the windows so you can't see what's going on, and then just close it. And then I got people come and visit and just like, all right, A or B, and then they won't be able to see shit. It's going to be great. The only thing I kind of wish is that if they did another revision of this, and I'm sure that Aperion's constantly making improvements, I would love to see one of these, Aperion, that this is as low as possible. I don't know how you do that with because there's a bunch of stuff in here, but I'm pretty sure if you built like a side box, and this was just because I kind of am tempted to somehow mount it upside down. Will that stay? So I can't even put anything behind it because then it's going to block that rear firing, which is hitting the wall, by the way. Just I could do, you know what? The problem with sideways like this is I think that's going to affect the way the pattern comes out. But you know what? You know how much it costs for me to test like this? $0. This is the type of shit I do when the camera's not on. It's like, what if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do this? That might be better. And you could also do things like angle a tweeter. Like you don't have to have it go the same plane. You could do this. This is me being just me, so accept that for a bit. Because those do dispersion, and these are much more directional. They're like, I don't know what the polar pattern is, but it's like, woo. So if you get them like that, now they're on their side just to be a little bit lower, which is probably not helping out the situation, but they're also on the inside.
Asian flute. No thought.
Okay. Oh, by the way, my original intention for this video, we're on 10,000. My initial intention for this video was I thought what I'd have to do is get the mini DSP out and have the speakers play through a mini DSP output, and then have these on a separate amplifier through a mini DSP output, and then actually tell it to not play this, because I figured like every speaker I test with is gonna get already up to the high hertz range. I'm gonna have to cut that off with a fucking low pass filter. Yeah, low pass filter. So I'd cut it down to 10,000 and only, and then put these only. I don't think I have to do that. I'm sure you could fuck with it. If you're building a set of speakers, here's the thing. If you're building a set of speakers, you could probably buy an AMT cheaper than this, but this would just be like adjust, set, go. So now let's see. I just did that. Can I go back a little bit? No. They sound dull. And these are the fucking Yamaha S803s. I love the way they sound. Like they're the reason they're on my wall and I haven't sold them in the yard sale or something, because they're fucking great speakers. But these fucking things, even if you don't have them laying down to do weird shit, they cost $1,000, because that's $1,000. Even if it's only a $500 set of tweeters in there, and they're paying for the control box and the actual build of it, adding a $500, $250 piece set of tweeters to anything is going to make it just, it's audio show levels of stuff. It's literally back to 10 with this. My temporary table, no. Yeah, no. Because now it almost is like I'm listening to just the Aperion tweeter, fucking super tweeters, and now it's just to swap out whatever speakers underneath it to kind of do the rest of the sound. I didn't think I cared. I didn't think I cared enough. It's like, all right, the twatter. It's not what it's called. The tweeter's going to do its thing, and whatever it ends. You know, my hearing's not the best. I'm not 20 anymore. Totally fucking matters. Almost, this might be the most important part of the said speaker. Because, I mean, you could have like low end and mid-range and all that. It could be fucking sorted. And the treble, as long as the tweeter's good enough. But now, with this fucking stupid thing, which, hold on,
complex tonal resolution.
I don't think this is going to be a combat match. These speakers sound $1,000, which I know that though the things on top cost $1,000, and those cost like $150, so they should sound like $1,200 speakers. But that is fucking insane. Because it literally just turns shit on to hi-fi. Okay, it was not hi-fi, now it's hi-fi. And now we're going to change, and I'll see if we get you another wallpaper, because where these things will probably live for the rest of their fucking natural lives is here. So enough about this witches and magic shit. These things are made with science. Thus to cure our wallpaper. And the little Vankyo projector, which the company sent me just to unbox, but I'll link it. It's not bad. It's 1920 by 1080. It doesn't focus well on the edges, but it's so cheap, like who gives a shit? Also, I'm using a fiber optic HDMI cable that I bought to move my office computer to the basement. I don't know. I'll link to that too. Fiber optic HDMI are also science. For those of you wondering what happened to my own Walshes, because Zeos, your own Walshes. Ohms, which I guess wallpaper there. We'll get to ohms. Light. Ohms require a room with walls and sex lights and ceilings. Even though that one's really high up there and that one's not. So the bedroom here, little cocoon where I sleep. When I wake up, ohms. When I go to sleep, ohms. If I ever do the nasty again, ever, ohms. And that's where the Lox GA30 is also, because guess what? That's the only amplifier you need. So this was the obvious choice to take these Aperion super tweeters because, yes, I love the ohms. Yes, I love the ohms specifically because of the way they shape the sound. They're an omnidirectional or semi-omnidirectional. There is an 8-inch woofer. We've never seen these speakers before because you're new to the channel. Here is the top hat. Under this top hat is an 8-inch driver firing down into this box. The box is ported. Sounds like stone. And on the magnet structure of the down-firing 8-inch is a tweeter. It's on an angle like this, and it's a big soft dome. And the point of these speakers, if you've never seen my review, please go back and watch it, because these are literally one of my favorite speakers, and we're about to improve them, is that since they play sound in every direction, omnidirectionally, but yet still semi-directionally, you can move around the space and they sound huge. They just shoot sound in every direction, and then you capture it on the walls and you bring it to you, and the low end is fantastic. And ooh.
Tonal delicacy.
Oh, back to that shit.
Intimate guitar track.
Like there's just a wall of sound, all right? That's what you buy ohm Walshes for. That's what you buy omnidirectional speakers for, the wall of sound. But, God, the projector's noisy now that I think about it. But, this speaker will never compete, by the way, artwork someone sent me, never compete with a directional speaker for detail. It just can't. It's the tweeter up there is a big soft dome doing big floaty air filling things, and that's fine. That's what they're for. That's why I love them. But then I put this on there. In fact, let's put this on there. Mute Mozart. Mozart, by the way. You can't see that because sun. So now what I have is the most audiophile ohm experience I've ever experienced. Did I say experience again? I want to do it one more time. So I've got these on the back offset because the tweeter is down there pointing up. I'm just probably not over it, so I'm not blocking anything. And I have them slightly tilted in, and we have the wall for the rear to fire into. So we get a omnidirectional experience from that. And my fucking God, did I miss having these up here for 2 days. 2 days, these fucking super tweeters have been off, been playing with them in the basement. And I woke up this morning and I'm like, play Bach, because I have it usually just Bluetooth to the little echo dot there. She didn't hear me. And then that comes on Bluetooth, and it's just, I love the listening. But I put it on this morning and I'm like, fuck, I gotta do this review. I shouldn't have to press the mute button twice on the Lox G. I just realized I had to press it to wake up the screen and then press it again to actually mute it. It's mildly annoying. So, Marilyn Manson. That's lacking in the ohms. The ohms are not for this. But here's the thing. Now that I have a directional tweeter, because it sort of impedes the ability for the ohms to just cover the entire space as you're walking through it, but it's a bedroom. I have a pretty fixed position when I'm in here. And I brought literally a chair in here. You can see the marks. Because I was just sitting and leaning into the middle of the space. Because I'm like, wow. Because I don't think I've ever heard a speaker. I've sort of built a monster here because it's still omnidirectional mid-range and low end. Omnidirectional, hitting the walls, using the whole space, even if it's fucking that. And everyone's like, oh no, Zeos, you have too high a ceiling there. Just build it a false roof so you have a... So I have a speaker that has omnidirectional mid-range and bass and sub-bass, because these things are like subwoofers. And then I have a soft dome, which is doing its damnedest to cover probably up to, actually, let me see where I have the cutoff set, 12,000 hertz. So probably into the 10,000 hertz range It's fine. The tweeters in these are fine. But human beings, at least young ones, can hear up to 20,000 hertz. So that means from 10,000 to 20,000 is sort of lacking. And since these will go up to 33,000 hertz, your dog and you can lay in bed and just enjoy it. By the way, anyone want to buy this? I took it in my bathroom. It's definitely not my style, but it's like glass and made in Italy. And if anyone just find a way to message me about this chandelier, I'm selling it. Not giving it away, I'm selling it. I don't know how much, $1,000, $500, something. Something that'll help me buy another pair of these, because guess what? These Aperions are never leaving my bedroom, because this is ideal location for them. I gotta point something out also. Not only do you have to play with the switches on the back and the position of this thing, but depending on your amplifier, like this amplifier, the A30 is like $140 when it's ever in stock, and it's never in stock because it's an amazing fucking sounding amplifier. Runs my ohms fine. Tacking on an extra load sort of gets it a little bit weird at higher volumes. So that's another thing you're gonna have to concern yourself with, because now you're fucking with your signal chain. It doesn't just not know this is here. That amplifier knows this is here. And if I go past like a certain volume, it starts to get to it, and it's just doing things it shouldn't be doing. And it did this on a couple amplifiers. So adding these onto a speaker doesn't just, oh, it's done and fine. If you were using, say, a home theater receiver, you got to pay attention and listen. At the highest draw, you're combining a draw to an amp that isn't used to having two draws. And it might just go, no. Luckily, this is still able to handle it up to like pretty fucking violent volume. What's playing currently? Powerman 5000. Just... What an experience. Because no one makes a speaker that's omnidirectional this, and then sort of omnidirectional like mids to 10, and then directional tweeters. No one makes that. But here it is in my bedroom, regardless of that fact. And these speakers now sound like they could compete with like fully directional facing amazing, just like, I want to start naming names, but there's speakers I've heard at audio shows that are like, wow, this omnidirectional speaker is amazing. Then I move to another room, and it's a fully directional front firing, like AMT ribbon panels. And it's like, wow, the detail in this is great. And this is a combination of both of those. So it works for the speakers I did in the basement, which the basement's actually over there. But it works for the speakers I did in the basement. It will improve almost any speaker that fits in that range. And by the way, I am down 4 decibels here, because these are very inefficient speakers, which means you got to turn your amplifier up more because they're inefficient speakers. And if you turn your amplifier up more, these are getting more power and they may not balance out. So I had to drop them -4, and now it's sort of like blends together. Otherwise it's too shouty. And I'm still playing with it. I'm still playing with the positioning. I might even build like a little stand to put side of it so it's not on top, instead it's a little bit lower. But where I am and how I'm listening, it may not matter. But I guess the end of this review is now. I guess I'm gonna sound demo these, because they're not a speaker, but my God. So we're gonna sound demo in this room, the ohms, and then at some point during the video, I'll do probably 2 or 3 songs, and then I will flip those on, do the 2 and 3 songs again, and then 2 or 3 more songs, and that'll be the sound demo. Because, I'm launching a second sound demo channel, because there's this whole thing with the algorithm is fucking everybody. I made a video on it, and the sound demos never get enough views. But I feel like this would be a good first sound demo to put on that channel. Because if you want to see my sound demo, it is linked in the description. It won't come out tomorrow. It won't take up any more space in the channel. I will be eventually switching to every other day videos. Just because the algorithm doesn't care if I do dailies, even though I work really hard for that shit. They Live. Oh, it's a good They Live song. The Tunnel. Underground. Wait. That's not possible. That's not possible with ohms. That's a fucking just like, what is that? Wait, come on. I don't want to get pulled for this track. It just literally throws 25% more detail onto whatever speaker you add it to. 25% is a lot. Imagine if you had ice cream and you're like, can you add 25% more flavor? And you just put a fucking like 3 or 4 Hershey bars on it and just melt it with a higher dryer. That's what this adds to these speakers. Maybe you don't need as much. Maybe you turn it down. You just add the little, That's why I'm saying try the cheaper ones. If you think your speakers are doing all they can and you're happy, whatever. If you buy those $25 ones, they're just sort of like, there's no options, there's no setting, it's just on. So they'll probably be painful and not sound as good as they could. But the $350 set of these from Aperion and these with the knobs, tuning them up, getting them set, it's just like, fuck, oh God. Yes, those are weights. I do occasionally want to, lift them. Hey, look, there's my Wi-Fi Unify blaster. Link to that, because I got to mount that out here so I have Wi-Fi out in the grass. I cut the grass. Look, I got the lines and everything. So yeah, yes. I had to do this video today. I had to wake up and film all the parts because guess what? They're not leaving again. And I'm gonna have to tell Aperion that, and they're either gonna say like, well, here's your bill, or they're gonna say, send me another set, because every once in a while, I'm gonna wanna put these on something else. And that's kind of a problem because now every time I do a review, it's like if I listen to a headphone, like, you know what, I bet this will sound good on a Class A amplifier. And you do it, and it does, and now everyone needs a Class A amplifier. So now with speakers, it's gonna be like, you know what? I bet this will sound a little bit better if I throw those fucking super tweeters on it. And then and it's gonna sound better, and now everyone needs super tweeters. So that's the end of this review. I'm gonna just wallpapers, all three wallpapers available in the description. Links to these on Amazon and on their homepage, and the other ones I talked about, links to the ohms, links to the amps, links to all this shit. Sound demo link in the description on another channel, because it makes sense, because I don't get a lot of views in that, and it's screwing the algorithm up, and I don't need them for dailies, and it'll be weird. So links to the sound demo for this, which I have to film now. I'm just going to turn them off, and then I'll get to make sure they sound perfect for that sound demo. In here, I'll close the curtains. I guess I'll leave that up. We'll get a new wallpaper for the sound demo on a projector. Unless I bring my screen up from the basement? No, I want to use those doors. Yeah, again, if anyone would like to contact me about I think it's Italian-made glass thing. I don't know. There's details. There's deets somewhere. Maybe I'll put it in the swap meet. If you join my $10 Patreon, if you join my Patreon or Subscribestar, see these reviews early. Participate in the yard sales. If you want to pay $10 a month, you get into the behind-the-scenes private Telegram chat, which has associated with it a swap meet channel that you're in for life. So you're in the chat, the $10 chat, as long as you're a paying patron, but you're in the swap meet channel to sell and buy gear freely with all other patrons. That works for Subscribestar or Patreon. And maybe I'll put that in the swap meet because I don't want it, and someone has to come here and pick it up because it's all glass and I don't want to break it. I packed up as much as I could. So yeah. Check out Hi-Fi Guides in the Hi-Fi Guides forum, and that's it. That's it. God, that thing is noisy. But it's not noisy enough to make me not want to listen to... Hold it. Wait. Crystal Blue Persuasion. Drop to your knees. Ah!